In high school, I was extremely geeky. I desperately wanted a girlfriend, but that was not going to happen. I was like Anthony Michael Hall in 16 Candles geeky.
I'm curious. This is a great film, by the way. Thank you so much for letting me see it and doing it. It's
Thrilled you watched it. This is unbelievable. I made a movie and somebody watched it. This is nuts.
How often did your expectation overrun the reality in terms of staying with this film and seeing it all the way through?
Oh boy. Well, I'll tell you this. It didn't go the way I expected.
Nice.
Here's what I thought the film was going to be. I thought the film was going to be me looking for love, and that by the end of the doc, it never occurred to me that I would actually find someone. That's for sure. I thought, all right, I'm still going to be alone at the end of the movie, but I'll be less broken.
Gotcha.
I'll piece myself back together through having met all of these women along the way. That was what I thought the arc of the doc was going to be. And then this other thing happened, which was like magic.
Yeah. I mean, you have charming awkwardness in this film.
Thank you.
And your fearlessness to be on screen leads to a lot of the comic relief. Was that something that you looked at in the editing and kind of were thinking there's too much of me, or
there's never too much of me, Joe?
Okay, good. So you were okay with the idea that maybe that people were going to laugh at maybe.
Are you saying you laughed? You were laughing at me? Is that
I was not laughing at you, laughing with you. There's a difference,
yeah.
right? No. But there's some really poignant moments here that are really, internal, and we see it and we get to experience it. But we also get to experience your goofiness and your zest for life. So talk a little bit about how you approached that. Was that the idea? Was to try and make this as awkward for you as possible, or did it just end up being kind of that way and you kind of ran with it?
I mean, I didn't need to try and be awkward. Awkward oozes out of me. I was born awkward. I'm a natural. But I will say that over the years, I think I've gotten better at being open and maybe vulnerable.
And sharing it.
And not being embarrassed. I guess like everybody, throughout my life, I've put on different faces. You meet people, you want to maybe, I don't know, charm them or impress them, especially if you're trying to meet a woman, you want to show them your best. I think I've kind of dropped all of that over the years, and I am who I am, and you realize in dating, certainly, you want people to like you for who you are. Mm-hmm. So you want to just, right from the first date, you don't want to try to impress them with someone you're not, because eventually the real you is going to come out.
Right.
And you don't want them to be disappointed when they meet that person. So yeah, I just tried to be as authentic as possible.
Did you learn anything from that first date that the interesting thing about this film, right, is you interview a ton of these women.
Yes.
And you start to realize that there's a inroad with getting these women on the film, and then really you start to get into their lives and their interesting aspects of who they are and what they're about. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of curious, as you were doing that, was your dating experiences getting better because you were getting this kind of feedback and interesting thing, or was it getting more and more confusing?
Dating is confusing, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
You think you're getting better at it, and then there's always endless setbacks and disappointments and endless rejection. It's brutal. But I learned things along the way, for sure. You want to hear something amazing that
of course.
This is actually not in the film. It was just sort of cut for time. But one of the women I met told me this thing. I love this. She said, because I was asking her, how she was finding being single and dating. She said, if you ask a newly singled person, someone who's just out of a relationship, you ask them to picture a staircase. You say, where do you picture yourself on the staircase? The newly singled person will always say at the bottom of the staircase.
Wow.
Because they think, they're starting again. Now they got to start dating and the rejection. In fact, the single person is in the middle of the staircase. People at the top of the staircase are in happy, healthy relationships. People at the bottom of the staircase are people who are feel that they're stuck in an unhappy relationship, maybe because they have kids with their partner or they're scared to leave, whatever it is, they're at the bottom. So, in fact, people who are single are so much, further ahead than the people who are stuck in.
But they don't see it at that point.
They don't see it. But that was just one little nugget that I learned that helped me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And did that automatically propel you to the middle of the staircase? Or
It did.
Yeah. I would think that's how it would work, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm at an age too, and maybe you as well. Most of my friends who have been married are either divorced or miserable.
Right.
So that really rang true for me. That being single is not the worst thing.
Yeah.
Being miserable in a relationship is the worst thing. Would you like to be in my documentary about women? What advice can you give me in my search to find love again? How's marriage working out? Are you single? Do you date?
No, I have a boyfriend.
Do you consider yourself a feminist?
Well, I'm female, so naturally.
Because it ended up lasting 6 hours. So
You had a 6-hour orgasm.
Yeah, I did.
So you're gonna ask me anything about film and photography?
Yes. Is anything missing from your life?
Well, I mean, I don't have a boyfriend. Like, I guess I have a boyfriend missing from my life. But I'm not, like, I don't really want one.
There's so many incredible wide shots, and they usually involve you being right in the center of them. There's an amazing one of you at a fountain with the snow coming down, and it just looks the bleakest of bleak.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, after a while, was that a happy accident that happened the first time and you guys started to design them, or was that always part of the film design?
There was no they. It was me, Joe. It was me and a camera. All of those. Anytime you see a shot of me, there are a few exceptions where I asked a buddy to help out, get some B-roll, and I'd hand them an iPhone, and they'd,
Sure.
But anytime you see sort of a static shot and maybe an establishing shot of me alone in frame, that's me filming me. There was no crew. I was a one-person crew, and I would, same as you. You set the camera up, you focus on whatever you have to focus on, a tree or whatever, I don't know, and then you step in to frame, and you hope that you're in focus.
Yeah.
So much of the film was shot like that. It was challenging too, for sure. When I was,
Yeah, I bet, especially in the snow. And
yeah, but also when I was filming my conversations with these women, my mind was in 10 places at the same time. I'm trying to establish some rapport, and at the same time, I'm worried about my sound levels and the frame and everything else.
Yeah.
There were always, you get the footage shown at the end of the day, and there's always 100 things that might have gone wrong. You just kind of have to cross your fingers that you got the footage.
Yeah. One of the cool things about documentaries that I've found over time is that they start out as one thing, and then they evolve. And it either evolves during the shooting, or it evolves during the editing process. And for you, though, because it's such a personal story, and you know the aim of what you were going for, and like you said, you were pretty convinced it was going to go one way or the other. Where do you think it changed in that respect? Did it ever change?
Well, the premise, first of all, I didn't have it at the start. I mean, just to give you the timeline here, I had this devastating breakup, the failed marriage proposal. I felt broken, alone, confused, full of questions. I sat on my couch crying for 6 months. My first thought was I should put my pain into art, make a film. The first thing I filmed, long before I had an idea, I was just filming myself in my apartment, stream of consciousness, just talking. That was kind of helpful in a sense.
Yeah.
It was like self-therapy.
Yeah.
Then I thought, okay, I got to leave the apartment. It's not healthy. And I thought, I'm going to go interview people on relationships and love. And I interviewed my parents, my therapist, my rabbi. It was only a certain point along the way where I thought, wait a minute. I should really be filming with women, preferably single, so I can learn about women and relationships from women, but also, who knows, maybe I'll, click with one of these women and find love again. So, I found the idea for the doc as I was going. My thinking was, just ride the momentum of, just start. You don't need an idea. In fact, I remember I showed up. One of the first things I filmed when I left the apartment with my camera, I walked over to my buddy Andrew's place. He's got an apartment in Toronto with a cool view of the city. And I thought, I'm going to go film an establishing shot of the city. And I show up at my buddy Andrew's, and I'm setting up my camera on his balcony, getting this. And he says, well, what's the film? I said, I don't know.
Find it.
Yeah, he says, so you're shooting an establishing shot of a movie, but you don't know what the movie is? Yes. So I made this film in a nutty way.
Yeah,
I just started and found it as I went along.
Would it surprise you to find that most documentaries are that? They do just stumble along like that.
I mean, I think probably the smarter thing to do would be come up with an outline. You got to have some skeleton of at least what you think you're doing.
Right.
Of course, it's real life, so it's going to go off in some other direction. But I think you do need a starting point, so you have a beginning, middle, and end in your mind, even if that changes. But I didn't even have that. I had a sense of what themes I wanted to talk about, that I wanted to tackle loneliness, which for me was so painful.
Yeah.
That loneliness for me is the most painful thing, though I've never had inflamed testicles, which I understand is painful.
Probably a little bit more.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll put it 1A, 1B.
That's right.
There's a poignant moment in this film when you realize something in your own life that kind of shifts your dynamic. And I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but the idea of that, for me, is that at that point, then it's almost like you're starting fresh and starting from scratch. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering, because it does go through that, and then you kind of go right into the third act from there.
That's right.
And so I'm kind of wondering, how did you know when to stop? I mean, obviously, you came to a conclusion, but that came out of a luck. Were you thinking about stopping well before then? Was there a point when you go, okay, I've got to just start putting this thing together? Okay,
so I met Aaron, but I didn't have the confidence that relationship was going to, it wasn't a relationship, we started, seeing each other, but I just didn't believe that it could go somewhere. Yeah, my self-confidence was still crushed. And so I continued filming with other women for the documentary. And I didn't keep that private from Erin. I said, by the way, I'm still filming the doc. I'm still going out and meeting. And she kind of walked away, right, at some point. So. Correct. But what I'm saying to you, Joe, what I'm telling you here, and this is not in the film, is that even when we reconnected, for maybe at least another month, maybe 2 months, I continued filming with other women. Because I almost felt like if I stopped, it would curse my chances, the relationship with Aaron. I was just, I don't know. It was only a certain point in when I felt like, okay, I think I have to let go of the doc. The doc served me really well. It was a comfort blanket.
Sure.
It was a way to meet women and kind of hide behind my camera and not feel like it was actually a date, because they weren't dates. Right. They were filmed conversations. But it took the pressure off, because dating is not fun. At least I didn't find it fun. So this was just an easier and more interesting and even more romantic way to meet women. For me, it was, it beats Tinder. I tried Tinder, it wasn't for me. I like having Heidi Lee as a friend. And it feels nice to have a paintbrush on my penis. On a break from our photo shoot, Heidi Lee and I goof around on our makeup. Amy always used to say, "Why are you so weird? Just be normal." Why would anyone want to be normal? Seriously, what kind of an asshole wants to be normal? I need to find someone like Heidi Lee,
a free spirit, an artist, someone who doesn't know the word weird, someone who accepts me for who I am.
You even mentioned this in the film, the opportunity that you had with all these women, and you had all this footage, and you thought about even changing the film at some point into something else. How hard was that for you, and how hard is it for you to hold on to all this footage with all these women? Is there an opportunity, do you think, are you thinking, maybe the extras of the DVD, that's where we're going to see a lot of these conversations?
Perhaps.
Yeah.
I mean, I shot, I don't know, hundreds of hours of footage. Any doc, you have to shoot so much stuff, and then it's like this massive puzzle.
Yeah.
Except that, puzzle, you got the picture on the box, you know what you're trying to make. With the doc, you've got thousands of puzzle pieces, and you don't even know what the final picture is supposed to look like.
Yeah.
And so it's months and months of, so much of the storytelling comes in the edit, what to include, what not to include, how to sequence everything, what emotional beats you want to hit. So, yes, there's tons of extra footage. I met so many women. I filmed with over 50 women in the course of a year. So of course,
doing interesting things on top of that, flying in a plane.
That's right. So there was a lot of footage I had to exclude to keep the story tight and create the arc I wanted to create and all that stuff.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense. So what do you love about being an indie filmmaker? What is it that you really cherish about it?
It's freeing. I don't have to wait for someone to greenlight my project.
You're the one-man gang, too, on top of that.
I have no crew. It doesn't cost me anything. I grab my 5D or my iPhone, and I'm out the door. Nice. I can come up with an idea, and 5 minutes later, I'm on set shooting.
Wow.